Greetings, everyone. Hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. Recently, Bioware announced their accessibility options for Dragon Age the Veilguard. Now, usually I could care less. I don't really touch these kind of settings in most games, but Veilguard might be a special case because there's been a lot of talk regarding the interface and regarding some of the things you can see during combat. People saying the screen looks way too busy, way too many colors going on, way too much distraction. And so Veilguard might be the type of game where it's worth diving into some of these settings. And I know a lot of you have asked, hey, is it possible for me to just turn all that crap off? Because of that, I thought some of you might appreciate this information, so let's go ahead and walk through Bioware's update. Alright, journal number 10, Accessibility Spotlight. We want to share many of the accessibility features in Veilguard. Regardless of skill level or ability, we want everybody to be able to enjoy the experience. So it starts off with going through the combat difficulties, and you see a screenshot of what it'll look like there. They actually have 4 different options, actually 5 different options. Storyteller, which is obviously easy mode. Keepers are going to be a little bit harder. Adventurer looks like normal, essentially. Underdog is hard. And then Nightmare is just absolutely overwhelming. Now, I plan for my live stream to be adventurer. We're going to keep it balanced. I want to just be able to plug through and find out as quickly as possible what the end of Solas's story has in store. But for our Let's Play, I'm giving strong consideration to go ahead and playing it on Nightmare and seeing, does the game really try to push you to the limit? We'll see. It depends on how I feel about the game when I dive into it, but that's where I'm kind of sitting with it right now. There's also an Unbound option that allows you to customize all of the difficulty settings. Now, next up, the part I think many of you will find most important is how you can customize the HUD. And so as you can see, you have options regarding, can you see the objective tracker? Can you even see the mini map? Can you lock the mini map rotation, or what is the mini map position? What is the combat text? Some of you have said that you feel like the combat text is too large and overpowering. The opacity of the combat text, so you might want to turn it all the way off, or maybe just want to reduce the opacity to some degree. And of course, the combat text size. I assume it's going to be small, medium, large. So it seems like there's a lot of options here for those people who want to see less, for lack of a better word, crap on their screen, to really minimize that when you're walking around and in combat, which I think is really cool, and I'll probably end up playing around with it at some point. And while it's not listed in the photo, they do mention in the breakdown that you can hide Rook's health if that's something that you would like to do as well. Next up, we get into the accessibility options, and as you can see, you've got some choices you can make regarding how subtitles are going to come up. Whether or not there's an animation when subtitles go away, what color they're going to be, their opacity, whether or not you see the speaker's name, what color does Rook's name come up in, and what color will be the name of any NPCs you see as well. Really cool. I can't remember having this level of customization when it comes to subtitles, so it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see whether or not this is something that's fun to play around with, and whether or not it's something that I feel like really impacts the game. But then again, I don't have the type of condition or disability that this really speaks to. So for those of you who do, and subtitles is really important to you, be curious to hear down in the comments, do these options sound interesting to you? Do you feel like it's going to make the subtitles even more valuable for you when you're playing the game? And another interesting twist, there's a setting which will add audio aids to visual only elements like incoming attack indicators. Now, I know the attack indicators was a major thing that a lot of people wanted to turn off. And I haven't seen an option in this update that allows you to do that. I don't see that mentioned anywhere. So unfortunately, those long lines, I'm not sure whether or not that's an option to be able to turn it off. I know they released footage of the dragon fight where Mage was attacking a dragon, and you did not see those lines going around everywhere. But it wasn't clear to me if that's just because you're only facing one opponent as opposed to there actually being an option that removes them from the screen. So I guess we'll see when the game comes out. Now, as far as visuals, they have the usual options, graphics mode, brightness, contrast, things of that nature. They also have the option for you to turn off motion blur, which is interesting because I've definitely heard some people say before that they feel like seeing too much motion blur in games gives them headaches. And then for depth of field, it seems like you have a couple of options. One of them is cinematic, which is going to cause some elements of the scene to be out of focus. Not sure what the other options are, but this might be interesting to play with for the cinematic sequences. For people who deal with motion sickness, there's also a persistent dot option. I don't know what that means. So for those of you who have motion sickness who maybe are more used to these sort of accessibility options, if you could explain what that means, I would definitely appreciate it. You can also adjust the in-game camera shake from 0 to 100%. That's interesting. And in a addition that I'm sure Total Biscuit would be a big fan of, there's a field of view slider in the graphical settings as well. Now, they talked about this before, but they repeated here again that all inputs are remappable for gameplay in Veilguard on both the controller and keyboard. And I'm pretty sure they allow you to set it up where you can have inputs mapped differently based on the character that you're playing. So maybe one character, like if you're playing as a mage, will have their inputs mapped one way, whereas your warrior will have things mapped in a completely different way. That's super, super cool. I'm interested to see how that's going to work out. And then finally, they have a list of all of the different inputs and things that you can customize when you finally have full access to the game. So seems like there's going to be a lot of customization options available so you can get things exactly the way that you want them. And that's it. That's the full list of options. I didn't want to make this video super long. Again, I know some of you are not going to be interested, but there's a lot of people are like, there's way too much happening in the interface. There's way too much happening on the screen. Can I turn all of this crap off? And hopefully this video helps to answer for you how much customization you have to craft the exact experience that you want. Overall, I think it's really cool. I've already said that I'm definitely looking forward to Veilguard, definitely plan to play it. And so I'm excited to get more information about the game. Hopefully within the next week or two, we get access to the character creator and we can really dive in to prepare for the full game experience. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Leave me your thoughts down below and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.